Story 1. Boss tried to sleep with my fiancée. This was several years ago, so my boss, an extreme type A personality, found out I was seeing a young lady at another one of our offices. It was a long-distance relationship. He was the type he liked to control everything and mess with people for fun. He was also married to another employee, but he was very unfaithful. And he had a hobby, photography. He liked to take pics of himself and his conquest in the act. Then he would show the pics around the production floor and brag about it. Well, on his next trip to this other office, he tried to get my girlfriend to sleep with him, but she spurned him. He made up some lies and got her fired. It took a long time, but I was patient. I knew he kept the photos in his office. He could not risk keeping them at home, where his wife might stumble upon them. One Saturday I was working OT, and the cleaning lady came through. They unlocked his office. I came in acting like I was taking dimensions on some drawings. The lady just asked me to close the door when I was finished. She left and went down toward accounting. That's when I went through his desk. Sure enough, in the back of one drawer, I found a stack of photos 4-inch tall. I took them all. Then I waited until he went on another trip. When he did, I went out for lunch. I had a dozen pics of him, in the act with 4 different women, all showing his face. The women all had dark or red hair. His wife is a blonde. I drove to the town he lived in, to the closest post office to his house, and mailed the pics to his wife with no return address. She divorced him, and her lawyer took him to the cleaners. My girlfriend is now my wife, and we aren't mad anymore. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a wild story to react to, so let's dive in. Alright, so our storyteller shares a tale from a few years back about their boss, who sounds like a real piece of work. This boss is a super controlling guy, likes to mess with people for fun, and is unfaithfully married. Oh, and one of his hobbies? Taking explicit photos of himself with other women. Yeah, you heard that right. Our storyteller was in a long-distance relationship with a girl from another office, and the boss tried to hit on her. When she rejected him, he got her fired. This boss clearly thought he was untouchable. But here's the interesting part. The storyteller didn't just sit back and do nothing. They waited patiently and hatched a plan. One day, while working overtime and taking advantage of an unlocked office, they found a stack of these incriminating photos hidden in a drawer. Classic move. When the boss was away, the storyteller mailed the photos to the boss's wife anonymously. And wow, did that cause a storm. The wife divorced the boss and her lawyer took him to the cleaners. Talk about karma. And the best part? The storyteller is now happily married to the girlfriend that boss tried to mess with. What a satisfying conclusion. So what do you guys think? Have you ever been in a situation where you had to be super patient and wait for the right moment to act? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. See you next time. Story 2. IT Pro Revenge on Cheating Wife. Someone posted a story earlier that was a bit too close to a true story that I was involved in. I previously shared it as a comment in another sub and thought I'd share the real story. This takes place before smartphones were omnipresent. I had a friend, we'll call him Bob, that was suspicious of his wife's social circle. One of her closest friends had been caught cheating and tried to throw her under the bus as well. Bob had no proof, and things settled down for a while. Bob was an IT professional and very, very good with PCs and networks. Nearly a year later, Bob's wife is acting shady again after her high school reunion. He confides in me, and we talk through some scenarios. He jokingly mentioned a keylogger. He finally asked me to just drop it, and most of all, don't tell anyone, not even your wife. A couple months pass and I'm up early, 5:30 to 6, getting ready for work. I get a Facebook Messenger notification and see that I've been sent a link from Bob, but it's a group chat. It's literally everyone we know, her family, his family, our friends, strangers, everyone. I didn't open it. It looked like a phishing link, even though it came from him, who's extremely cautious. A short while later, I get an email from Bob with some ominous, unsavory comments and the same link. It's a group email with the recipients open, copied, his wife's work, her family, her friends, his family, other people I didn't know. I knew it was legitimate now, so I opened it. The link was to a hastily made website containing pictures and videos of his wife and another man. This wasn't hidden camera footage, it was screenshots including video screen captures. Weeks worth of screenshots. He had captioned each item with snarky comments and colorful names for his wife and her lover. It was an embarrassing amount of evidence. Videos of her masturbating with her lover. Chat logs about how they can't wait to fuck again. Solo masturbation videos of her and him. Tons of pictures. And the straw that broke the camel's back. Trash talking her husband to her lover. Comments about how much bigger and better he was. Her efforts to stroke her lover's ego were especially hurtful. I dropped what I was doing and called him. He was drunk and combative. He had been up all night making the website and drowning in liquor. Not one good word to say about women in general. He was extremely emotional, but after some work, I had convinced him to take the website down before it does irreparable damage to his marriage, their careers, and his children. As he's sobbing and logging in to remove the website, I hear loud yelling as she bursts into the room. A screaming match ensues, and there's nothing I can do to pull him back. Apparently, her mother or sister saw the page, blew up her phone until she woke up and answered. She saw the website and went on the offensive. The phone call drops after 30 seconds of her screaming while Bob is calling her a whore and I can't contact him again. The website was still up for the rest of the day, and he was kind enough to put a view counter on it. Hundreds of people watched her masturbating with a married former classmate. Bob had done his homework. He installed a keylogger that records the whole screen. When he was out, she would log into the PC and/or Facebook and play with her boyfriend. Bob had found her lover, his family, his wife's family, his job, etc., etc. All these people were included in the Facebook and email groups. I do not know what became of her lover and his marriage, but I do know what happened to Bob's life. His wife was desperate to make amends. She tried and offered everything. In the end, it was her comments about her lover and his prowess that were her undoing. Bob tried to take her back, even after all his friends and family had seen her naked and cheating. But he couldn't get over the comments about his manhood. Bob eventually left her, gained about 100 pounds, and then finally moved as far away as possible and became a horrible human being. I have no idea what he's doing now as he went scorched earth with most friendships and his family. She's gross and has a face shaped like a bowling ball now. Line forms at the rear. Wow, this story is intense. Honestly, I do feel bad for Bob. He was clearly devastated by what his wife did, and his reaction, although extreme, shows just how hurt he was. You can imagine the betrayal he felt, especially since his suspicions were confirmed in such a dramatic way. The level of tech-savvy Bob had to pull all that off is pretty impressive, but using those skills in that way, it's definitely a moral gray area, right? What do you guys think? Should Bob have handled it differently, or was he justified in his actions? Let me know in the comments. That keylogger setup he used really caught my attention. This wasn't just some small-time snooping. Bob went all out and documented everything. The fact that he added captions and snarky comments to the evidence, that's another level of hurt and anger. The confrontation between Bob and his wife must have been explosive. Can you imagine waking up to find that everyone you know has seen your private moments? It's a nightmare scenario, and the fallout, both of their lives were changed forever. In the end, both Bob and his wife's lives seem to have gone downhill. This story serves as a harsh reminder of the devastating power of betrayal and the lengths people will go to when they're hurt. Such an unfortunate situation all around. Alright folks, what did you think about this story? Would you have done anything differently if you were in Bob's shoes? Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more reactions. Story 3. Ex cheat on me with her cousin and expected to save face. I think not. For context, it was her cousin-in-law. Let's start this story by saying this happened 12 years ago. I'm now happily married with 3 children and regret absolutely nothing. I was with my new ex for 3 years. I had noticed that she was being extremely controlling. I was expected to give every little detail of my day and tell her my schedule in advance, and if I deviated from that, she would be very upset. She chalked it up to just bad feelings she was having and shrugged it off as her paranoia for past relationships of infidelity. I had never once cheated or strayed, and I never gave her a reason to act like this. It felt unbecoming of my fiancé to act in such a way. Now this is where it gets juicy. After she had asked for my schedule to make plans, as mine tends to be more hectic than hers, I noticed she was texting someone. In my line of work, if I put in more than 40 hours, I have the ability to take time off at will, as long as the work is completed at a later date. I was very good friends with a brother and still am. We laugh about this to this day, and he actively reminds her of it. I messaged him stating I wanted to do something special for her, a little bit earlier than our anniversary, to make sure it was a special surprise. They both worked in the same fabrication facility. He was a fabricator and she a shipping manager. He was kind enough to let me know her schedule. That's where the discrepancy falls into place. Without my knowledge, she was foregoing overtime. She worked 12-hour shifts Monday through Friday, with the exception of Wednesday, when she would only work half a day. She had been taking Wednesdays off right around the time that she started getting extremely controlling. Lucky for me, I had stacked several days of leisure time up, so taking a Wednesday off for me was not an issue. A few days go by, and Wednesday's here. I put on my work gear and leave for work. I was expecting her to leave as our apartment complex had 2 exits on the same road I could see directly across from a shopping center, so I parked my car near the back and waited. After about an hour, I notice a very specific red Mustang with a specific decal on the back window. It was her cousin by marriage. I had also done my due diligence to take an old laptop, which we kept on our desk in an office area with a full view of the living room, bedroom door, and bathroom, plus the kitchen. I had set it up for remote access and had it alert me when the webcam noticed movement. Giving her the benefit of the doubt, I thought he may be dropping something off or coming over to assist her with something, as her family sometimes does. Sure enough, a message came through, so I remote into my laptop. He walks through the door without skipping a beat. She unbuttons his shirt and begins kissing him. I created a URL link for the live stream, and as she was preoccupied, we had a family group text and a friend group text. They were both part of it, but at the current time, they were currently indisposed and didn't look at their phones. They didn't even wait. They could have gone to the bedroom, but no, they decided to get freaky deaky right there on the couch. I sent the link off to the friend group chat and the family group chat. Within minutes, I'm getting calls non-stop from friends and family alike. There was no turning back. She was getting blown up, but she was ignoring her phone. Not until the 4th or 5th call came through did they decide to take a break. For context, the state I live in allows recording of personal property regardless of occupancy. I was the only one on the lease. She wasn't allowed to be on the lease because of poor credit. The call she had picked up was from her cousin's mother, who she was banging. She answers the phone on speaker, and I kid you not, the first words out of his mother's mouth were, "Stop fucking my son." They both became rigid, and she began to stutter over her words, saying, "What are you talking about?" etc. The mother then divulged that there was a live feed of them sent out by me to her family. She grabbed every pillow off the couch and covered herself up. The cousin staggered off, trying to put on his pants and shoes, just to trip himself up and bang his head off of my coffee table, leaving it with a divot. By this time, I had made my way to the front of the apartment complex. I was there to greet the adulterer as he came out of the front exit. He froze and began to cry, apologizing profusely. I'm not going to lie, what happened afterwards wasn't my best moment, and I nearly got into legal trouble if it weren't for the fact that he was trespassing on private property. Let's just say I had a cast for 6 weeks, and he wasn't in any family photos for months. I went up to the apartment, where she was now fully clothed and crying inconsolably. I asked her if it was snot or cum on her face. Then I told her not to answer because it didn't matter anyway. I gave her 1 hour to remove all her belongings, as again, everything in the apartment was mine, except for clothes, some makeup, and a few kitchen utensils. Her mother would not let her move in, as she was just filled with embarrassment. Same for her brothers, and the cousin's mother kicked her son out. Rumor spread around our town very quickly, and for a lack of better words, she was untouchable. Whoa, what a story! So let's unpack this a bit. First off, it's pretty wild how the guy went from a normal relationship to finding out his fiancée was cheating on him with her cousin-in-law. That's a double whammy of betrayal right there. It's crazy how controlling she became, demanding his schedule down to every little detail. It's almost like she tried to cover her own tracks by acting super suspicious of him. You guys notice how some people project their own guilt onto others? This seems like one of those cases. And then there's the part where he sets up remote access to his laptop. Super clever, right? But also kinda sad that he had to go to those lengths. It's a big hint that trust had already evaporated in their relationship. Then, the climax, catching them in the act and the mom's reaction. Can you imagine the shock when the guy's mom told them to stop what they were doing? It's like something straight out of a movie. Talk about instant karma. Interesting point, though, is how the community reacted. Her own family disowned her and the cousin. Goes to show how strong social bonds and reputation can be in smaller towns. What do you guys think? Would you ever go this far to catch someone cheating? Let me know in the comments.